As you can see, the first enemy's animations are complete. At least they're complete enough for now. There's always a chance I need to come back and add more animations later. But here are some details on how I've set things up. Dividing the animations. One important thing to keep in mind for this project was that an animation player in Godot cannot play multiple animations, and the different parts of the skeleton can only be animated by one animation at a time. For this project, it's best to use two animation players. One animation player will play the upper body animation, and a second animation player will play the lower body animation. Splitting the animations like this will allow the enemies to play a walking animation on the lower body and an attacking animation on the upper body, just as an example. It's important to make sure that the upper body animations never have any keyframes for the lower body, and the other way around. I found it useful to separate this enemy model's rig into groups. One group for the upper half of the skeleton, one group for the lower half. Just so while working in Blender with this setup, it's extremely easy to just check that any animation only affects the correct parts of the body. Rig on the fly. A great but not perfect add-on. There's a really useful Blender add-on called Rig on the Fly that I started using while working on these animations. Rig on the Fly temporarily switches a model's FK bones to IK, so you can animate with IK whenever you want. Then you can switch back to FK, and Rig on the Fly automatically bakes the animation. In other words, you don't have to have IK bones on your models anymore. IK bones are trouble for game engines anyway. You probably don't want them on your rig. So this is a nice workflow where everything gets resolved back to FK. That said, this add-on is in development still, so I would recommend being careful about using it. I ran into some issues where the baking process modified other animations, which I did not want it to do. So for now, the best workflow might be to copy your file, work in the copy, and then append your completed animation back into your original file once you're done working on it. So I'd say, if any of that sounds good, you just want FK bones on your rig anyway, check out Rig on the Fly. I'll have a link down below. What's next? Up next is something I've really been looking forward to working on, creating the dynamic navigation system for the enemies. In a previous video, I outlined my overall plan for this system, so if you want to check that out, you can see some of the details there. So look for that video soon. I'll either be telling you how my plan worked great, or how I threw my computer into a dumpster and set it on fire. See you then.